afternoon. My name is Kira, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the World Series of Fighting conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Mr. Hunter, you may begin your conference call.
Thank you. This is Jim Hunter with World Series of Fighting. I'd like to wish all of you a good afternoon and a good morning, depending where you're located. And thank you very much for joining us on this media teleconference, of course, for the World Series of Fighting's second card. That'll be this Saturday, March 23 at the Revel in Atlantic City. It's a 12-bout card, and it'll be televised live again, as it was the first time on NBC Sports Network. That's starting at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. The 5 of the 12 bouts will be televised live by NBC Sports. Along those lines, we'll have a bit of hard news, a little breaking news to impart upon you, and that is the World Series of Fighting has signed yet another TV agreement. This is Spanish language Univision Deportes, Univision's new sports network. It'll be the first time they have had MMA on, and it starts with the telecast this Saturday, again, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, and we at WSOF, a mouthful, are excited about blazing new grounds and expanding our event coverage throughout the country. This is a real feather in the cap, not only of MMA, but the World Series of Fighting as well. In addition to the NBC and Univision Deportes coverage, the first 7 bouts on this 12-bout card will be streamed live worldwide on SureDog.com. That starts at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. SureDog will then continue with the 5 bouts of that will be televised by NBC. Those will be streamed live by SureDog.com at the 9:30 and 6:30 time slots outside of North America. Here in North America, only way you can see it live is on NBC Sports Network. One other bit of housekeeping: the weigh-in for the card Saturday will be at 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday at the Social at the Revel on the Boardwalk in Atlantic City. The weigh-in will be open to the public, free of charge, of course. Now let me introduce some of the people, or all of the people actually, who we have on this media teleconference. And I'll start with the president of the World Series of Fighting, a 6-time world champion, Hall of Famer, Mr. Ray Sefo. Ray, you'd like to say a few words here?
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being on the call today. And we look forward to an exciting card this weekend, this coming Saturday, the 23rd of March. As Jim already said, it's going to be an exciting card, and it's taking place at the Revel. So I look forward to talking to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Before we get to the introduction, so you know who's fighting who, the 5 TV fights will be starting off with J.C. Cavalcante against Justin Gaethje, Josh Berkman against Aaron Simpson, Paulo Filho against David Branch, and then the 4 gentlemen which we have with us today, Tyson Nam against Marlon Moraes, and Andrei Arlovski against Anthony Johnson. We have those latter 4 gentlemen with you here today for your questions. Again, we have standing by for the questions. We'll start with, if we could, Andrei Arlovski. He is coming off an impressive knockout on the inaugural card of World Series of Fighting at Las Vegas last November. He was, as I said, that was a devastating knockout, and he is right here now. And Andrei, if you have a few comments for the assembled media.
Hello, everybody. I'm apologizing. I'm a couple of minutes late, and I'm ready to answer for all the questions. Thank you again.
Thank you, Andrei. The next gentleman will be Anthony Rumble Johnson. He, too, had a most impressive performance on the card at Planet Hollywood, November here in Las Vegas. Anthony, a few comments, please.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and it's an honor to be, in the situation that I'm in right now, and taking me to the World Series of Fighting and Ray Sefo and Ali and Andrei Arlovski for this opportunity for everybody.
Thank you, Anthony. A gentleman which is fighting for the first time on the World Series of Fighting card, a dynamic fighter. We're looking forward to seeing him, Mr. Tyson Nam. Tyson, a few comments, please.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Atlantic City, Rebel Sports, NBC is going to be an awesome show on Saturday.
Awesome indeed. It will be. All the fights should be. Lastly, a gentleman who pulled off a major upset, a big surprise, and established himself as a real force with which to be reckoned within MMA. That taking place again on the November card here in Las Vegas on the WSOF inaugural show. Mr. Marlon Moraes. A few words, please, Marlon.
I want to thank all the fans and World Series of Fighting to put me against Tyson Nam, and also I want to thank you, Tyson Nam, for the opportunity. And I'm looking forward to see you guys Saturday, and you guys cannot miss this fight because it's going to be a great show, and me and Tyson Nam are going to put a great show for you guys.
We're looking forward to it as well, as is the media. And at this point, I'd like to open it up to Ray or any of the fighters standing by.
Once again, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star and the number 1 on your telephone keypad. That's star and the number 1. Our first question comes from the line of Heidi Fang with MMA Fight Corner.
Yes, hello, and thank you for the time. My first question is for Ray Sefo. I'd like it if you could tell us about the details of the Univision deal, like, for instance, how many fight cards will air on it, and is this, in fact, a simulcast with the main broadcast?
Hi, Heidi. That's a great question. I think Jim will be able to give you more information on that. And I know the deal was in place and moving forward, but I don't have the full details, so Jim will probably be able to answer that for you.
Heidi, could you repeat the question? I had a bit of a garble. I apologize. One more time, please, Heidi.
Yes, please. If you could just give us the details on the Univision deal, and also let us know maybe how many fight cards will air on that, and will there be a simulcast also with the main broadcast?
Okay. Those details in terms of the length, the duration, and also the simulcast is being worked out as we speak. It is not finalized. Of course, it is a multi-fight agreement. It is launching with this card here on Saturday, but since time is of the essence to get them aboard for this card, that frankly the final details, exactly how many fights it will be, obviously it will be more than one, is still being worked out. I would like to think we would have that information for you later in the week or by the time we hit the weigh-in or the fight card. So we will have a final, have a resolution that can address that at that point in time. But I think I would be remiss now to make a guesstimate on what it is. It is in the works.
Great, thank you. And if I could, a question for Tyson Nam. You've been one of the most highly touted prospects to come along, and we know that you have that agreement with Bellator, and then you were released from that. What made you choose the World Series of Fighting through all the other, promotions that may have enticed you to other deals?
I mean, through the legal dispute with Bellator having matching rights to everything, World Series came along and outmatched all the other offers. And I mean, I'm really glad that the World Series of Fighting actually outmatched, because they're a new production with great leadership with Ray and Ali, and just been signing a lot of talented fighters, and I think the World Series of Fighting is definitely going to be a big show up and coming in these next few months, years to progress from there.
Thank you. And just one last question for Anthony Johnson. Now you're at heavyweight coming into this fight. Is this a weight class that you maybe plan to stick with? I know you fought at light heavy for the last fight.
Not at all. Unless, my man Ray Sefo and Ali asked me to take another fight at heavyweight. This is probably my one and only fight at heavyweight right now. 205 is still where I want to be, still my home. So, we'll see. Hopefully, this is a good show for me and Andrei Arlovski, and maybe, win, lose, or draw, they might want to see a rematch, and I might have to fight heavyweight again, you know what I mean? So we'll just see what happens.
Great. Thank you for the time.
Our next question comes from the line of Brian Heminger with MMAmania.com.
Yeah, my first question is for Anthony. I spoke with your teammate Danilo Villafort earlier this week, and he mentioned that you've looked better in the gym than ever. Not having to worry about a weight cut. So I just want to get your thoughts on finally having a fight where you could just focus on training and not having to worry about a weight cut.
Well, even at 205, I really wasn't worried about a weight cut, but right now I just each fight I get more and more comfortable with myself and the system of fighting that we have. And, of course, not being able to cut weight is always a good thing. So it just makes me happier, and I train harder, and I'm more focused. So, fighting heavyweight is kind of good. But then when you're fighting a guy like Andrei Arlovski, you have no choice but to be focused and to make sure you do everything right.
Yeah, Andrei Arlovski is a very big heavyweight, so how big do you expect to come into the cage to be able to counter that?
I mean, I'm like 235 right now. I don't plan on getting heavier than that.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Our next question comes from the line of Ariel Helwani with MMAfighting.com.
Hey guys, so I just want to confirm with Anthony, so you're 230 right now, and you don't expect to weigh in much more than that on Friday?
No, you can't confirm that because I said I was 235.
Oh, that's why I wanted to confirm it. But that's how much you expect to be come Friday?
It's somewhere around there.
And how does this change what you do as far as your training and whatnot? Because in the past, we've seen guys who have fought at higher weight classes not come in the best shape because you may feel like you don't have to push yourself as much, et cetera, et cetera. So do you feel as though you have been getting the most out of your training despite the fact you don't have to worry about cutting any weight?
Yeah, no matter what, I always feel like I get the most out of my training. So I can fight at heavyweight or light heavy, and I'm going to do what I got to do to win and make sure I get the right type of training to win. So it doesn't really matter to me.
And what's the mood at the Black Zillions these days? It's been highly publicized that the team as a whole is on a bit of a losing streak. Probably the most notable wins have come or were when the last World Series fighting event took place.
Well, the vibe is still great. We don't worry about what the media has to say. We just train and let the cards fall where they may. You know what I mean? We that's the media and all this, what everybody thinks is the last thing on our mind. We just train and we keep doing what we're taught to do, and whatever happens, happens. Overall, we're like, screw the media.
Wow, okay. And one question for Ray. The last event obviously was under different circumstances, but NBC Sports really didn't, promote this or publicize this at all. Can we expect something different in the days leading up to this one?
Yes, absolutely. They're going to be running a promo real soon. I'm not sure if it's already running or it should be running in the next day or so, but they're definitely getting behind it.
Okay, and you have the event in June. Do you know how many events you'll have in 2013?
At the moment, obviously we'd like to have 6 events by the end of the year, but we'll see how that goes next couple of events. So we don't want to look past this coming weekend as well as June. But that's in the works right now, and we'll have some more confirmation on that by the end of this show for sure within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, and one more. Do you have any plans of putting on any women's fights?
Yes, at some point that's going to happen. My biggest thing is we don't have enough women talent that's available to start a division. As you know, Invicta signed a lot of women, and they have a great women's division. UFC has women fights now as well. So at some point that's going to happen for us. But obviously it's a matter of us acquiring a little bit more talent and looking at creating a division.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Jonathan Kirshner with Inside Fights.
Hi, my first question is for Ray Sefo. Tyrone Spong piqued a lot of viewers' interest at the first event, and he's going to fight Remy Bonjasky this weekend in Glory 5. Have you been in talks with him about a return?
Yes, he's definitely going to fight in the June event. He was, as a matter of fact, I spoke to him about a month ago in Vegas, and he was really hoping that he was fighting on this card, but unfortunately, there was already plans for him to fight in the Glory event, so we look to have him back in June.
Okay, I have one more question for you. There have been rumors of a kickboxing promotion making its way to NBC Sports Network in the near future. Have you been contacted by anybody on NBC Sports or Glory Kickboxing about a co-promotion? And if not, is it something that you'd be interested in?
I haven't been contacted. I haven't heard anything about it, but anything is possible.
Okay, thank you. My next question is for Andrei Arlovski. Ignoring the no contest against Tim Sylvia, you are currently on a 4-fight win streak. Do you think a victory over Roland Johnson will put you back in the top contenders for heavyweights outside the UFC?
I'm not sure that it's going to be back on the top of heavyweight division, but definitely it's going to be the most, from my last fight, 4 fights, it's going to be the most important and hard fight for me because definitely Anthony is a great wrestler, good striker, and it's going to be a good match for both of us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of David Weinberg with Cross of Atlantic City.
Hi, guys. I just had a couple of questions for Ray. I was just curious to know what prompted you to come to Atlantic City in general and Rebel in particular.
Well, we were looking to move around, and we through Henzo and Ali Abdelaziz, there was a contact that was made, and Rebel also have been really accommodating with with us coming to Atlantic City. So we made it happen, and here we are, and we look forward to a long lasting relationship with Rebel for sure.
Okay. And I was just curious as to the World Series of Fighting's place in the hierarchy of MMA. What is the goal of the organization? Is it to challenge UFC, provide fighters for them? I was just curious what the long-range goal is for the organization.
Our goal is to put on exciting fights, make sure that we put on, that we challenge ourselves. Our biggest challenge, we're not here to challenge UFC. We're here to challenge ourselves. Our biggest challenge is ourselves, like I said, but make sure that the next show is as good as the last, or if not better. I feel that this card is even better than the last card, and obviously that's our goal, is just to keep putting on exciting fights for the fans and fights that make sense for our guys as well. So that's the biggest goal for us. Is listen, this is only our second event, so we're taking one step at a time and moving forward slowly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Franklin McNeil with ESPN.com.
Well, my question is for Anthony. Anthony, I want to ask you about how you feel as far as your speed and your power. Do you think you or are you sacrificing any of that as you move to heavyweight?
Everything is still there. The speed, the power is still there. I'm still an athlete. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything except height. And, of course, I believe Andrei is bigger than me, just a little bit heavier than me. But overall, that's it.
And who have you been training with heavyweight-wise in camp?
I train with everybody. I train with all of my guys. There's no specific person I train with when it comes down to anybody that I fight. I train with Alistair. I train with Matt Mitrione. I train with Rashad. I train with Michael Johnson. I train with Danilo and Jay-Z. I train with the guys that fight at 125, you know what I mean? I even train with, I train with Thiago Silva. I train with his wife. She has no stand-up, but she has great ground, But it's a body and it's movement, you know what I mean? There's somebody smaller than me that's faster than me and can keep me on my toes. So I want to get a look from everybody, no matter who I'm fighting. So I train with the Black Zillions. I don't just pick one specific person to train with.
And earlier you mentioned that you would do another heavyweight fight if the guys asked you. So I'm assuming that you're doing this because you were asked, and you, obviously you feel that you will perform adequately at the weight class. But what do you hope to gain, or what do you expect to gain with the victory at heavyweight? What message does that send if you're able to be successful at this weight class?
I don't have a message. I'm just here to fight. That's it.
Okay. That's all I needed to know. Thanks, Anthony.
Appreciate it, brother.
Bye, man.
Our next question comes from the line of Harold Kemp with BJPenn.com.
Hi, my question is for Tyson. Tyson, I just wanted to know how you felt like your style matched up with Marlon.
Well, I think that both of us is going to be a great matchup just because he comes forward, he throws punches, kicks. He's very adept at Muay Thai as well as Jiu-Jitsu, so he's really good on top of the ground. I thought that the fight with Marlon and Miguel was a great fight. Marlon brought it, and I expect nothing else but a really exciting, fast-paced fight when we meet up on Saturday.
Thank you. Marlon, the same question for you. How do you feel like you match up with Tyson?
Yeah, I feel great, Like he said, man, we are both stand-up guys. We like to strike. We like to do MMA, We're going to be a really excited fight, and I'm ready for the war, I'm ready, and I know he's ready, If the fans cannot lose this fight. This fight's going to be a great fight.
Marlon, finally, do you feel like, being on the first card, having the great the fight that you did, and being on national television, does that give you any type of advantage at all?
I'm sorry?
That being on the first card, the World Series of Fighting card, having that great title that you had, fighting on national television, does that give you any advantage in this fight at all?
No, of course not, man. We are all ready, Today MMA is everybody is training hard, everybody's training everything, and we just have to give our best on a training camp and show up there and give our best, Anybody have advantage, man.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Michael Spetz with Fightline.com.
Yes, I had a question for Ray. Ray, should Anthony have an outstanding performance Saturday night, would you be inclined to try to keep him at heavyweight because of the difficulty it is to find top-tier talent in the heavyweight division in any promotion?
I think that's something that's up to Anthony and his team. Again, we were presenting certain opportunities or certain fights to him, and if he thinks it's ideal, then we'll make it happen. If not, then that's not my decision. I think that's Anthony and his team's decision, and we'll see what happens. I think Anthony and Andrei Arlovski is going to be an exciting fight. I look forward to it, and so should everybody else. But the decision ultimately is his.
And how far away are we from seeing title fights in the World Series of Fighting? Could it be inaugural title fights in the third card in June?
Yeah, most likely either the third or the fourth for sure.
Thank you. And a question for Marlon. Marlon, you recently spoke about training with Frankie Edgar. If you could elaborate on how he's helped you with your overall game.
Yeah, man, we are working hard, you know. I'm working with Frankie Edgar, with all my training partners, you know. He is a great fighter, you know. I'm always learning with guys like that, you know. Always trying to improve for my next fight. And I think I'm going to improve a lot on my next fight Saturday against Tyson.
Thank you. And just a quick question for Andrei Arlovski. Andrei, you spoke recently about training with Freddie Roach and how that actually hindered you just focusing on boxing. Now, of course, you've been fully ingratiated with the Greg Jackson camp. Just talk about the work you've done over there and how that's helped you so far on this 4-0 run, really. I know it was that you had a no contest, but how Jackson has helped you going forward.
Well, first of all, Greg Jackson, he gave me hope after 4 losses. After my last loss in Grand Prix in Strikeforce against Kharitonov, I gave him a call and I asked him, what do you think, should I retire, this and that, because some of my trainers, some people told me Arlovski done, this and that. And he said, absolutely not, just come to Albuquerque, and he gave me that hope, and I really appreciate. Only one bad thing that I worry that I probably didn't move to Albuquerque right after my Emelianenko fight. Like I mentioned before, it might be a different story now, but anyway, I'm happy where I am right now. It's a great place to train, great sparring partners, teammates, and great coaches over there. I'm very happy. And I still have a lot of years to fight, so I'm good.
And have you been working with, I know you've been working with Travis Brown. Have you worked with Frank Mir as well now that he's been over there for his current fight camp?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially this camp, it was amazing because I had a chance to train wrestlers, do jiu-jitsu, sparring with Travis Brown, Frank Mir, John Jones, a couple of local heavyweights. It was good. You know, everybody tried to push me hard, and I had to be all the time alert, you know, because those guys tough, they serious about, and they helped me a lot to be prepared for my fight against Anthony and March 27.
Thank you very much, Andrei. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Sean Beanblossom with MMA Linker.
Hey guys, my first question is for Marlon. Coming off a win over a big name like Miguel Torres is certainly a big boost for your career. I know fighters don't like focusing too much on the future, but if you were able to get past Tyson, do you believe that puts you in a position to say, hey, I beat Torres, I beat Tyson, which served as the co-main event. When they do begin setting up title fights, I want that first shot at the bantamweight title.
Of course, man. Be a champion is a dream of everybody. I am, you know. My dream is be the champion of the World Series of Fighting. But my focus now is only on my fight Saturday, you know. I'm focused. I'm ready. I'm training really hard. And I'm just thinking about that. After my fight, the organization will decide, you know. I'm really happy with the World Series of Fighting. And they will decide what is going to happen after the fight, you know.
Great. My next question is for Anthony. A little over an hour ago, you tweeted something that was talking about stupidity, getting facts straight, and spectators. Can you expand on excuse me? Can you expand on what that tweet was about and what that situation is pertaining to?
Well, somebody tweeted something about 7 and 15 or something like that, which I assumed that person was trying to say what our record was or something like that. And I'm like, you know, there's this thing called loyalty and this other thing called stupidity, you know, so get your facts right and, you're always going to be a spectator or something like that. You know, it's just somebody talking stupid, so I just went along with it and talked stupid with them. I mean, it wasn't nothing personal to me.
Okay. My last question is for Andrei.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut in there. I just want to add to something also that Anthony, with the same topic. I've had somebody tweet say something about it's a meaningless fight. But what my response to that is this: these two guys, Andrei Arlovski and Anthony Johnson, they both have to put in a 10-week camp, which is not meaningless. They both have to go through the sacrifices that a fighter has to go through to get ready for a big night, for being the main event, which is not meaningless. Again, people to the, it's one person, but that being said, these guys put their lives on the line every single day to come out and put on the best show they can. So please, keep that in mind before you start tweeting some silliness.
Absolutely. My last question is for Andrei. You've obviously been fighting at heavyweight your entire career. We've heard Anthony's take on how he thinks his performance will be and whether or not that's going to be an advantage for you. But what is your take? Do you think that his debut in the new weight class, do you see that as an advantage? And do you think the weight difference will affect his performance?
Honestly, I don't know. I just know he's tough and he's gonna give me pressure like all 3 rounds, and it might be like good for him because, like you mentioned before, he didn't need to cut any weights and he just focused on the hard work at the gym. So I don't know. We'll see. Definitely, he wanna beat me and I wanna beat him even more, and it's gonna be a great match, I train hard. I'm sure he trains hard, and we just we follow one goal. We'll see. We will gonna see who's gonna be better man that night, and that's it. I respect him like a fighter, definitely his stuff, and it's just another very important match for me. It's another step to reach my goal.
Great. I actually have one more question for Ray. I know this is a little off topic, but Josh Berkman recently had an interview where he said that if he gets past Aaron Simpson, he wants a title fight. When you guys do start implementing title fights, I know you guys just signed John Fitch, which is obviously a huge prospect, but Berkman basically said that he doesn't believe that Fitch deserves a title shot because he is coming off a loss. If Berkman is to get past Simpson, is that something you consider, giving him the first title shot?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? That's something that the team and I have definitely sit down and discussed. But Josh Berkman had a great outing in this inaugural event, and if he beats Aaron Simpson this coming Saturday, then there's a possibility of that happening. Again, we're looking to crown a couple of our guys within the next third or fourth event. So it's a possibility.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys.
Our next question comes from the line of David Herbert with Sudasport.com.
Hi, guys. Excuse me. Whoever has background noise, can they please mute their phone? Thank you. Hello?
Hello?
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys. Somebody actually took my first question for Ray about introducing titles into WSOF. So I'm moving on to another question for Ray. It's kind of a long shot. The next event you said you guys have coming up is in June. Do you guys have any matchups lined up for that you are willing to talk about?
No, nothing's. I mean, there are a couple of names that Ali and I have played around with, but we're not ready to release that as of yet. But within the next couple of weeks or so, I'm sure that will be released.
All right, I have one more question for Rumble. You were talking earlier about training with all the different guys the Blackzilians, Alistair, and everybody. I talked to Tyrone Spong recently, and he said he's been training with you a lot. How invaluable is it to have a guy of Spong's caliber at striking and preparing for a guy like Arlovski?
Repeat that question, please. It was blurry on this end.
I said, how invaluable is it having a guy like Tyrone Spong and his caliber of striking and preparing for a guy like Andrei, whose strength is also striking?
Well, it's very important. I mean, training with a guy like Tyrone, it almost pretty much gets no better than that. You know what I mean? He's powerful. He has a ton of experience when it comes down to stand up. He's just the total package when it comes down to stand up. So training with him just builds up my confidence even more.
Excellent. And one more question for you. Are you concerned with any reach or size advantages he may have?
No, I'm never concerned with anything when it comes down to fighting.
All right. Thank you.
Our next question comes on the line of Zeus King with MMA Opinion.
Thank you for taking my call. Ray, question for you. With the resurgence of kickboxing and the Glory World Series, have you thought about fighting there? I know you said you wanted to end your career with 100 fights. Have you thought about taking a kickboxing fight there?
In the Roosters of Fighting?
In Glory?
Oh.
Have you thought about fighting a kickboxing fight?
Well, nothing has been, I haven't been asked or talked, no one's talked to me about fighting there. If that ever came up, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mind doing that either.
And just a quick, just any of your memories that you have about Ramon Diamond Deckers?
Yes, I've had the honor to meet Ramon, numerous times in Japan as well as in Holland, and an outstanding warrior, and nothing but a lot of respect for that guy and what he's done for the sport. May you rest in peace, and the fact that my son is actually named after him.
That's awesome. I have a question for Anthony Johnson. Anthony, do you think that anybody will ever be dumb enough to put a cookie in their mouth in front of you at the weigh-ins again?
Good luck to them.
I was great win over DJ Leonard, and I thought that was an incredibly controversial and borderline classless thing to do to somebody like you, and it's kind of satisfying to see you make him pay for that.
It worked out in his favor. He got to eat all the cookies he wanted after that.
Yes, he did. And then finally, for Andrei Arlovski, how do you like using the Google Plus for networking? Because I've seen you do question and answer with fans on that. How do you enjoy that? Do you like the Google Plus better than Facebook? Okay, maybe we lost. Did we lose Andrei?
I'm going to try reconnecting Andrei in just 1 second.
Oh, okay. And one more question for Ray. Who are you picking between Tyrone Spong and Remy Bonieski this Saturday?
I would have to go with Tyrone.
I would too. I think Bonieski's in trouble. Thank you guys for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, Andrei's back.
You back? Hello? Andrei?
Do we have Andrei back?
Yeah. Andrei, hi, this is Zeus. I just wanted to ask you, how do you like using the Google Plus interacting with your fans? Do you like that better than Facebook?
I don't know. I have guys who help me post it everything on Facebook and Arlovski.com, and I just try to communicate back with my friends, and I really enjoy this.
Good. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Ray Thompson with MMAmental.com.
Hello. I've just got a quick question for Tyson. Obviously, he's been out of action for a while because of things that have been going on outside of MMA, and of course, he's coming off a huge win over Eduardo Dante with the knockout that not many people expected to happen. Does he feel any extra added pressure coming into this fight because of that win and how long he's been out of the cage for?
I take every fight by fight. So I mean, I don't take any fighter lightly, especially with the way that Marlon put on the show back in November with Miguel. So I mean, I've been training just as hard, if not harder. But as well as it's been a little while since the Eduardo fight, but that time in between up until this Saturday, I felt that it gave me more time to refine on some of my techniques and hone some new skills in between those times.
And finally, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Ray. I got to interview him this week. I know he's been really busy, so Ray, thank you for letting me interview you this week earlier on.
Thank you for your time also. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Dan Plasma with Full Contact Fighter.
Hey, Marlon, how's it going? I was just wondering how many fights you had on your contract with World Series.
Hey, I'm sorry. Can you repeat? Sorry, man, my phone.
Oh, I was wondering how many fights you have with World Series of Fighter on your contract.
I have more 3 fights, but I'm hoping to have more 10, 20, 40. I'm so happy with the World Series, and I'm looking forward to have more 3 fights and keep signing again.
Obrigado. I also have a question for Sugar Ray. I know, Ray, it's an honor to be with you, sir, and all you fighters. I know that we're talking about rankings coming up and championship belts. Going forward, are you guys going to try to sign the most elite level fighters and actually be the World Series, as it were, and have the top fighters in the world?
Absolutely. Whoever's, obviously my team at the office is in contact with managers and fighters every day from around the globe, and so and also here in the U.S. and whatever high-profile fighter that's available, and if it makes sense for us and it makes sense for them, we'll make it happen. But we'll continue creating our own champions and our young talents. For example, we have on the main card Justin Cagey, who is 7-0, going up against a very tough guy, a tough opponent in JC Cavalcanti. So that kid he's young and up and comer, and we have another young kid at 22 years old, and Vincent Hansen, who's fighting in the prelims. These are we're looking to build our own guys as our own champions as well. But that being said, whoever's available that makes sense for us, we'll make it happen.
I know you're the president, but any chance you're going to jump in there and fight for the heavyweight belt?
I definitely want to. I mean, again, my goal is to reach 100 and retire from the fight game. And at some point, hopefully, I'll get to step into our own cage and let us swing and let us fly. And so we'll wait and see. If the timing is right, we'll make it happen. Like I said.
Are you guys trying to format this in any way differently than the UFC and show a different side to the fighting or the fighters, or are you just pretty much trying to stick to that mold going forward?
Sorry, say the first half of that question.
Well, the UFC, they're kind of like the NFL. They invented the sport and the rules and even the broadcast format, as it were. Are you guys looking to expand that or change that in any way and maybe profile the fighters more? Arlovski, for instance, he works a lot with charity. He's like a real good guy outside the ring. Are you guys going to maybe show some background on the fighters?
Right, absolutely. That's definitely something that is already in discussions. We'll look to do something something along those lines, as well as add a tournament scenario at some point in time down the line. It probably won't happen. 100% won't happen this year. probably look at it within the next year, the year to come. But yeah, absolutely, we'll definitely look at profiling our guys a little bit more as well.
Thank you, sir. So now I have a quick question for Rumble. Anthony, this is the biggest fight that you've had yet, and it actually means a great deal for your career. How have you been preparing psychologically to get mentally ready for your big night?
Well, as soon as I get the phone call and, about a fight or whatever, presented with a fight, I'm already mentally ready to just, fight. So, I didn't really have to get prepared. As soon as I know I'm fighting, I'm there.
Okay. Quick question from Mr. Arlovski. Andrei, you mentioned the change between striking camps from Freddie Roach to Greg Jackson. But, before you made the silly mistake of going for a flying knee with Fader, you're actually looking beautiful against him using that boxing, using the movement and hitting. Are you getting elite level training with Greg, and who are you working with in terms of just the striking?
Definitely, I work with Greg Jackson about some striking, about some technique, tactic. With Winklejohn, more the kickboxing, and we have like wrestling coach who was Evie, and we still, I know I still have a lot of work to do in each discipline, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, boxing, I spend equal time in each discipline. I want to get better in every discipline. That's why I'm probably the first person who come into the gym and the last person who live in the gym. So I want to be better, and it's kind of going to be a big test for me on March 24th, third against my fight against Anthony, because it's going to show like if I did everything right for the last 2 years,
Our next question comes to the line of Steven Morocco with MMA Junkie.
A quick question for Ray. We were talking about criticism of your fighters a little bit earlier, and you're a pretty even-keeled guy. I'm wondering if your background, because of your background, your fighting, your life and fighting, if you take it a little bit more, personally when media members or fans make criticisms of your fighters.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What gets me the most is that if you've never been in that cage or in that experience what it's like, if you've never experienced King Week Camp, what these guys, the likes of Anthony Johnson, Andrei Arlovski, Tyson, and Marlon Moraes go through, and the sacrifice that they got to put in to be ready for the 23rd, if you've never known what that feels like, then you shouldn't really be disrespecting any of these guys. It makes me really upset about these kind of things because I get it that, if you want to criticize something, okay, fine, whatever, but don't criticize and don't do. It's one thing to give an opinion, it's another thing to disrespect. And, it really burns, a fire underneath me when people that have never been in that cage or that ring disrespect the fighters. But I think, at this point, it's just a matter of educating them and a matter of just saying, listen, maybe go to a gym and experience what it's like, a couple of weeks, and then you understand what these guys go through.
Well, do you think that Dana White was giving his opinion or disrespecting Anthony and Andrei when he said earlier this past weekend that the fight wasn't really legitimate because Anthony was a former welterweight?
Well, at the end of the day is what people need to understand is that, number one, Anthony is not getting any younger. Number two, Anthony is a big guy. Number three, Anthony is his own man. He can decide to fight at whatever way he wants to fight at. Number four, if he's comfortable there, why not try it? All these things, we don't control Anthony's destiny. Anthony is his own man, and he can fight whatever way he wants to fight at. And if he's comfortable at 205, great. If he's comfortable at heavyweight, great. I mean, who are we to say what way he fights at? As long as he comes out and he looks good like he did in his last fight at 205 or his last 3 fights or 4 fights at 205, who are we to say what way he should fight at?
Anthony, what was your reaction to those comments this past weekend from Dana?
Well, in my opinion, what Dana said was his own opinion. It didn't really bother me. But to me, this is a legitimate fight, and like Ray said, come into our world and see what it's like before you just say anything. But I mean, I have no hard feelings towards Dana for whatever he said. I don't even think it was meant, in a harmful way towards me or really towards Arlovski. He was just stating his opinion. But I don't know why he said welterweight whenever I haven't fought welterweight in over a year. I mean, it was a program, you know what I mean? I fight at 205. I'm fighting heavyweight this fight, Stop living in the past when I used to fight at 170. This is totally different than 170, you know what I mean? People change and, some people change for the better, and that's what happened to me. So let's not even talk about 170. Let's talk about 205 and heavyweight.
And Andrei, what did you make of those comments? Dana had some great things to say about you. Said that you left and there was a lot of mutual respect between you and the UFC when you left. But he also obviously had the criticism that he didn't feel the fight was legitimate, and if you wanted to get back into the UFC, that this was not necessarily the fight to do it. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, I respect Dana White and I respect his opinion. He worked a long time in this business and he has his own opinion. And also I absolutely agree with Anthony what he tweeted, and it's gonna be, it doesn't matter what weight he's gonna fight, it matters what he's gonna bring on the table. And I'm sure, like I mentioned before, he played hard for this fight. It might be easy fight for me. It might be the hardest fight in my MMA career. So it doesn't really matter, and everybody has his own opinion, and I respect this. And I'm just focused on my fight, and I will bring something on the table, and Anthony gonna bring something on the table, and we'll see who will be right, who was right, who was wrong. It's only about fight, and we're gonna have answer after our fight.
Okay, thanks guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next question comes from the line of Yves Dwan with angrymarks.com.
Thanks, operator. My question is for Anthony Johnson. Anthony, first, congratulations on your last win at the inaugural World Series fighting. And I was wondering, this is probably figuratively and literally your biggest fight since you fought Vitor Belfort, figuratively in terms of the name of the opponent and literally in terms of the size. So how do you feel about the pressure of going against Andrei Arlovski compared to that fight?
I don't feel pressure at all. Plain and simple, I don't feel pressure at all. I'm not the same person as I was when I fought Vitor. I'm twice as 10 times better than that person was. So I don't feel any pressure. I don't get nervous before fights or anything like that. So I'm just calm and relaxed and just, it's a fight. This is what we do. This is what we train for. So no point of worrying about pressure or what anybody has to say. I just go out there and do my best.
Understandable. And do you feel that I know they haven't established the light heavyweight title yet, but if you go out there and knock out Andrei Arlovski and you're going back to light heavyweight, which you said is your preferred weight class, do you feel like you're number one contender for the light heavyweight title at that point?
I don't know, brother. I just fight. I don't think about what's next or, anything. I just take everything one step at a time, every day, one day at a time. I don't really think about who's next. So what's the possibilities? I just go with the flow. So, I mean, if it's presented to me, we'll sit down and talk about it. And if not, then life goes on. All of that stuff is the last thing on my mind.
Totally understandable. Well, let me give you one thing on your mind, and then I'll move to the next caller. Can you tell me what you think is the one thing you have to look out for the most from Arlovski? Is it his boxing? Do you feel his ground game will be a challenge? What's going to be the biggest thing for you on Saturday?
This is MMA. I got to be on the lookout for everything. It's not one thing that I have to look out for. I have to look out for everything. So I just can't say, I got to watch his hands. I have to no, this is mixed martial arts, buddy. I got to watch out for every single thing this man does.
Fair enough, and I'm sure you will. So good luck on Saturday, and thank you.
All right, thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Philip Bergracio with Night of the Octagon.
Hi, yes. My first question is actually for Ray Sefo. You've recently joined the fight to list the band in New York for MMA. Where do you see the future of World Series of Fighting in New York if that band is listed?
We hope to come to New York and hope to have a couple of shows here per year. I'm sure that having our guys fighting at Madison Square Garden will be amazing, or anywhere else here in New York. I think it's great for the sport, it's great for the state, and I really, stand by that fight also. That eventually MMA will be legalized here in the state of New York.
Okay. Also, I have another question for you. With the rise of MMA, as far as the different promotions go, with Bellator's tournament bracket, UFC's pay-per-view, super fights they're obviously focusing on, and the Invicta women's fights, where do you see World Series of Fighting fitting in with that? What sets you apart from all of those different promotions right now?
Well, for us, it's, again, we have an outstanding network, NBC Sports Network, that's a platform for our fighters to showcase their talent. We fight in the decagon rather than an octagon or a circle. We look to take one step at a time and improve our guys and make sure that everything is done right. We look to put on fights that is exciting for the fans, fights that are right for our guys, and fights that make sense for our guys. And so, again, our biggest challenge is ourselves, and moving forward is making sure that every card that we have, we felt that the first card we came out with was an amazing card. We feel this card is even better. And so our biggest challenge is to keep doing that every time we come out. We better the show every single time. And right now, that's what matters the most for us.
The last question is for Andrei. Andrei, you're pretty much the vet in the heavyweight division as it stands, and I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on the heavyweight division in MMA as a whole right now? I feel like there's been a big focus on other divisions, bantamweight, welterweight. Where do you see the heavyweight division going in the future, really?
It's always really interesting to watch heavyweights in boxing, kickboxing, MMA, and definitely it's the toughest heavyweight division right now in UFC, but who knows, maybe World Series of Fighting going to bring more tough heavyweights in an organization. It's going to be big and challenge first of all for me. It's going to be a big challenge for other heavyweights, and it's going to be great. One day maybe, we'll see.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Cole Vick with MMA Life Radio.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I guess my first question is for you, Ray Sefo. Lately, in all MMA, kickboxing, boxing, judging seems to be a very large issue because it seems to be, I guess you could arguably say, done wrong. Are you making any advances to try to, do different things with judging?
Yes, I definitely agree. There's been a lot of bad judging lately, and I don't know. I think the commission needs to sit down with the judges and educate them a little bit more, I guess, and we as the promoter, we will put forth our own advice on the matter, and hopefully it gets better.
All right, thanks. And then my last question, because I know there's a lot of callers. My question is for Arlovski as well as Johnson, and I'm going to ask individually. Both of you gentlemen have fought, this will be 4 times if you count Saturday, since August. Do you guys like the consistency of your fights? 4 fights from August until now, or would you like to have had longer time for your fights?
Who's going to answer first?
Yeah, who's going to answer first?
Anthony, go ahead.
So I guess first I'll go with you. Anthony Johnson. Between August and now, this will be your fourth fight. Do you like that consistency?
I love it because the more I fight, I keep getting paid. You know what I mean? So it keeps me in the gym also. So I have no problem with fighting, you know, as many times as I have in the past year or since whenever you said. Hell, if you give me more, keep bringing them. I'll keep fighting.
And the same question for you, Mr. Arlovski?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Anthony. I want to fight the more as possible, and for right now, I think it's going to be probably good for me fighting at least 4 or 5 times a year, you know. And yeah, I want to be busy and make some money.
I have one more question that just came into my head. It's actually for you, Anthony Johnson. You train with the Black Billions, and I realize that Tyrone Spong is going to be fighting Remy Bonjasky soon. But you said earlier in the discussion that you were, your natural weight is 205. That's where you want to fight at. If the opportunity came, and I know a lot of teammates don't like to fight each other, if the opportunity happened, would you take the fight with Tyrone Spong at 205?
I don't know. It never crossed my mind at all, ever. Tyrone is like my brother. You know what I mean? I don't see the point of really taking a fight with him or, against him, I should say, whenever we train with each other every single day. That would be pretty stupid. You know, that fight would get us nowhere. Just both of us lumped up and looking retarded after the fight.
All right. Thanks so much, guys, for answering my questions.
Our next question comes from the line of Naira Phillips with New Zealand MMA.
Hey, good morning, guys. My question's for Ray Sefo. Ray, kia ora, and big hi to all the folks to you from here in New Zealand. Your organization,
thank you.
We miss you back here. When are you going to come and visit?
I look forward to coming, hopefully sometime this year. But yeah, I miss my hometown.
Oh, that's awesome. You're looking for fighters internationally. Do you have any plans of adding any of the New Zealand fighters to your future cards?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I've actually talked to a couple of guys out there. Oliver, who is Mark Hunt's jiu-jitsu guy, has a couple of guys. Doug Vinny has a couple of guys who he's working with also. Yeah, there's a lot of talent coming out of down under for sure. We'll definitely look at guys from Australia also. But yeah, absolutely, we're going to look to recruit some talent from down there.
That's awesome. And my second question for you is, have you been in discussions with Sky TV, which is our local cable TV company, to talk about broadcasting contracts with your organization?
Matter of fact, one of my best friends is Neil Walker.
Cool.
I just spoke to him last week about it. He's in, I think he was away. I think he's just due back tomorrow, I believe, and he'll be making that contact and making that happen. And we look forward to showcasing the show down under as well.
My last question for you is to ask you about today's questioning from everyone. Most of the interviewers are directing their questions to Anthony. Do you think that's because they think he's going to win or they think he's going to lose?
And listen, Anthony is a great athlete. He's a great fighter. And so is Andrei Arlovski. Both of them have proven themselves not only as men but also as fighters. And like Andrei said earlier, may the best man win. And I wish both of them the best of luck.
Well, we're really looking forward to this one, and we'll be watching live on Shoe-Dog. And all the best for the event this weekend. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, and give my love to my Kiwi people.
Our next question comes from the line of Nick Solomon with jabsandgrabs.com.
Hi, Ray. How are you doing today? Ray?
Hello? Yes.
Hi. Ray, okay, so first question I'd like to ask you about is, I know that your promotion is pretty young, it's in its infancy. Are you considering possibly to create greater brand awareness for your company, maybe co-promoting with other shows like Bellator or ONE FC or anywhere else?
No, I don't know. We haven't discussed that. That's something I have to talk to the team about. But that being said, I have a meeting in London actually on the 4th of April with another gentleman down there that is looking to start a league down there and looking to be a feeder to the World Series of Fighting. And so something like that could happen, but that's something that we have to sit down and discuss. And but it definitely won't be with the likes of Bellator or anyone else for that matter. It would have to be obviously a smaller show as a feeder in that sense.
And so also, when Pride Fighting Championships was around, they did some co-promotion with K-1 and had some K-1 versus Pride fights. You obviously have a background in K-1. Would you consider doing anything, bringing over maybe established names like Semi Schiltz and other people like that to come fight in the World Series Fighting? They've also had backgrounds in MMA. Semi Schiltz.
Right. That is very possible. But again, I think it's something that's entirely up to those fighters. I think Semi Schiltz is happy where he's at. That being said, he may want to come to the States and fight here. So if that is the case, we would love to have him.
Okay. And also, for some of the, I've noticed your heavyweight division right now, we have Devin Cole, Andrei Arlovski, and apparently a one-time performance or possible one-time performance by Anthony Johnson. Are you looking to maybe bring in other names like Mirko Krokop, Josh Barnett, Sergey Karatanov? Like, how do you feel about those fighters coming in?
I think they're all great talent. I think they're all great fighters. And, again, if it makes sense, we'll make it happen.
Have you had any contact with them?
There is, I believe there has been contact with Josh. I'm not sure 100%. But I kind of overheard something in the office. But, people like, Rampage is also a free agent. So, all these guys, again, if they like to come to Wizards of Fighting and we sit down and it makes sense for them as well as for us, I don't see why not.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. That's all for today.
Thank you.
Our last question comes from the line of David Herbert with Buddhistwork.com.
It's actually a two-part question for Ray and Andrei. It involves another great heavyweight who was retired for a while and at the moment is retired from MMA. Mirko Krokop. He just won the K1 tournament in Croatia. If he were to come back to MMA, would WSOF be interested in maybe setting up a Arlovski Krokop super fight?
You asking me first?
Yes. Yeah. Ray and then Andre wants to come.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I would, we'll have to sit down with Andre and discuss. If that makes sense for Andre, we'll make it happen. If it doesn't, it won't happen.
All right, and also Sergey Karatanov. I believe somebody just asked about him. And anything going on there?
Not that I know of. That's something that I don't know if Jim has any information on anything like that, but there's no. I don't know any discussions as of yet with Karatanov.
All right, that's it. Thanks, guys.
There are no further questions.
Operator, let me make a couple of closing items, if I could, please. Let me mention one thing. It goes back to a question I think Dave of the press, press mentioned maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes ago about whether World Series of Fighting is grooming fighters for another organization. I think I speak for Ray and for everybody at World Series of Fighting that we are not, I repeat, we are not a farm system nor a feeder market for any other organization. I think our merits and our accomplishments to date and the future speak for themselves. That being said, the tickets are on sale for the event now. The fight will be in Ovation Hall at Revel. Doors open at 5. And as someone once said, if you can't be on the scene, catch it on the screen on NBC Sports or SureDog or Univision Deportes. No other questions or comments. I thank you all for participating today, and I look forward to seeing you at the fight. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect your line.